So what is the value of the investment that you've made in your staff's well-being? Overwhelmingly, the answer is, we just don't know. Poor mental health costs UK businesses £45 billion a year. And in response, companies are investing heavily in programs that support well-being and culture, but without any real idea of the impact this is having. Well-being is the only cost center in business with no defined financial outcome. And that is why we have built Corus, a SaaS platform helping people managers to understand well-being impact and return. Because as Peter Drucker put it, if you can measure it, you can manage it. Now, our model, which we're calling well-being accounting, is unique in scientifically correlating well-being investment with business outcomes, underpinned by a machine learning algorithm that consolidates extensive academic research on well-being. Now, myself and Greg, we, as founders, we have considerable experience in the well-being sector, and our development team includes a Bristol University data scientist and a carbon accounting software developer. Now, in beta trials with Lloyds Banking Group, we were able to demonstrate a return on investment of over 800%, and our pipeline now includes the likes of Live Nation and CICI, with a subscription model forecasting 20 million inside 5 years. We recently received a 50 grand Innovate UK award, woohoo, and we are now looking for 250k under SEIS to build, launch and scale our MVP to give us 18 months runway, underpinned by a industry-defining analysis model. Thank you for listening. And now, to field all the tough questions, my co-founder, Greg.
Judges.
No, thank you very much. Help me understand, as the business owner, what I look at and what I see to help understand whether I'm doing the right thing or not for my employees.
Well, so you're spending a lot of money on well-being, or perhaps you want to spend a lot of money on well-being, and it's understanding how that well-being is affecting staff, so in terms of subjective well-being and that kind of thing, and then being able to correlate that with things like reduced turnover, reduced absence, which are sort of harder data, or presenteeism, things which are more subjective, and being able to say robustly, this is what we've spent, and then this is the impact that that's had.
Thank you.
On the similar topic, how much as a company do you need to put in time from individuals and managers and talent teams to get the software to work?
Well, we've gone through a whole process of thinking we wanted a big shiny platform ourselves, realizing that actually we need some very specific data inputs. We've thought very hard about how we can integrate, how we can streamline such that we're not adding to the tech burden and that we're not asking people to be being drained by asking more and more surveys. It's a very specific lot of surveys of simple questions that people ask, and an option for the businesses to give us more data that they hold.
And yeah, really integrating with existing processes and platforms in there. So whether that's Slack or Workday or something else, it's not saying, here's another platform you have to sign up for and use and log into and fill in. It's just saying, there's a very small amount of data that we can collect, piggybacking on your existing processes. So yeah, as George mentioned, we're not looking to sort of be another one of the 500 apps that enterprise companies use every day.
Who is the target audience? Is it the largest employers?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I mean, ultimately, at the moment, we end up having conversations, and some people end up wanting to know whether or not they should be doing well-being, not whether or not they should be delving into the analytics around it. That said, we know that there are key voices. We've been working in the well-being sector for a long time. We know the people for whom this really is a big deal. We're not trying to convert everybody off the bat because it's quite a hard sell for some of those people, but there are key voices who we are working with and in a process of consultation with at the moment. In the same way that we've seen the environmental shift, where a lot of companies are now clamoring to demonstrate their environmental credentials and ESG, we're seeing the same shift in the social, and we are aiming to be at the forefront of that when the loop starts closing and organisations are having to justify the outcome of the spend that they're making on their staff.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say, so do you not compete with the other kind of employee engagement platforms and HR platforms then?
We would say that we're absolutely complementary to them. So it's in the same way that the sort of, you'd want, as a marketing agency, you'd want Google Analytics to understand what the spend that you're doing is having. That's what would happen with an EAP provider would want to be able to demonstrate that the stuff that they're offering is actually having an impact, and that's the service that we offer.
But will they never develop the same kind of offering that you have as part of their offering?
Well, yeah, that is an interesting question. But so there's a huge amount of research that exists already into understanding and measuring well-being, and being able to kind of delve into that and create a model which kind of is comprehensive enough is a significant amount of work that wouldn't really make a lot of sense for those companies to do. And then they have their own one, but then someone else, has a different one, and then so this is kind of us being sort of agnostic.
Someone came up with the term of not marking your own homework. And a lot of people who do provide wellbeing services, it becomes impartial if they're developing a system to measure it themselves. And so ultimately, we're trying to create a way that an organization can benchmark themselves, and that they can reliably see how they demographically or in terms of geographically they match up against other organizations, for example.
Anybody in the audience wants to ask a question? Quickly.
What do you define as investment in well-being? Just as opposed to some of the systems that might measure, well-being on an ongoing basis.
Well, that's a good question. I suppose we're kind of thinking either a company can use it to say we're going to now look at this specific investment that we're making, whether that's in implementing flexible working, or whether that's in a specific year program or a workplace choir or something like that. But it's not to say that we're defining something as wellbeing investment or not. I suppose it's kind of like the broader picture of cultural, the social side of the ESG, and understanding how you can actually sort of quantify and understand that.